Greetings, everyone. It's with great joy that we gather together for another Enlightened Moments by Plenitude. And as always, we ask for your participation. Give us a like, or if you have a questions or comments, please feel free to do so. And we'll be more than happy to answer those and participate in the conversation as well. So, without further ado, we're going to move on to our study of the night. For the first part of our study, we're going to be reading from our Daily Bread, chapter 18. Another time, as I said many times, doesn't hurt to say once again. This book was dictated by the Spirit Emmanuel through the hands of Chico, the medium Chico Xavier's. We got to have access to all those precious informations. So the chapter of today is chapter 18. Title is Trials of Fire. And the fire will test the quality of each man's work. That verse is in the letter of Paul to the Corinthians, the first letter of Paul to the Corinthians, on chapter 3, verse 13. In modern mechanized industry, they make reference to the use of trials in order to prove the resistance of its product. And upon mulling over the fact, let us be reminded that in the Gospel, these trials were equally reported at least 20 centuries ago with regard to spiritual attainments. So we always learning and trying out and see how it goes. In writing to the Corinthians, Paul perceived the human labors constructing upon one single foundation, that of Jesus Christ, each individual thereby preparing his own realization in conformity with evolved resources. Each student, however, shall complete the task of his choice, fully convinced that the era of strife will be acknowledged in each and every one's eyes, so that a just trial will certain his merits. The evolvement of the world in its material aspects can supply the idea of the importance of the achievements of such great nature. The earth is replete of fortune, positions, values, and intelligence that cannot withstand the trials. As soon as the purifying movements come close, they precipitously descend the steps to misery, to ruin, and to decadence. In the service of Jesus Christ, it is also justified that the student awaits the moment of verification of his own personal possibilities. Character, love, faith, patience, and hope represent achievements for an eternal life, attained by the student with the saintly assistance of the Master. However, all disciples should rely on the required experiences that, at the opportune moment, shall ascertain their spiritual qualities. So, as you see here, um, all the trials we go through, all the obstacles that we see as sometimes unfair, but we don't have the full picture. So those obstacles, those little stones in our roads, those big stones in the road of our journey to evolution always means a way to ascertain our spiritual qualities. And If the obstacles seems too big at one time, maybe it's because we don't have the quality yet. Maybe it's because something we still need to learn. And the trials will keep remind us that. Because to the point that we achieve purity, the purifying movements come close. As closer we get to a more evolved position, that means that our spiritual qualities are more evolving. We'll see the trials to get bigger. Yeah, those are bad news, huh? Because the more we learn, the more we have to attest, the more we have to ascertain to make sure that we really learn the lesson. Those trials you cannot cheat on. They come on and you're going to have to go through either to repeat the lesson or to move to the next level. All right, and now we're going to go to the second part of our study. So, in sequence of our study, we're gonna go to the Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 18. Title is Many Are Called, but Few Are Chosen. In this chapter, there are many lessons. We have the parable of the wedding feast, the narrow door. Not all those who say, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven. Much will be asked for he who receives much. We're going to choose the narrow door tonight to study. From that study, from that lesson, we're going to do chapter 13. I'm sorry, we're going to do item 13 and item 5. On item 13, we have Matthew 7, chapter 13 and 14, which goes 13. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. Verse 14. But small is the gate, and narrow is the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. That sounds very scary. Always remember that Jesus did taught us through parables, and he uses a lot of metaphors because at the time that he come here to earth to give us lessons and a simplification of those teachings, he was talking to he had to address the population of that time with the wording that they will understand at that time, that we will understand at the time, because we're there. So, item 5 goes. Wide is the door to damnation because evil passions are numerous and vast, and the vast majority of humanity follow this pathway. That of salvation is narrow because man is obliged to exert great control over himself in order to dominate his evil tendencies if he wishes to pass through. And this is something that few are resigned enough to do. It complements the maxim, many are called, but few are chosen. This then is the situation of terrestrial humanity, because as the earth is a world of attunement, evil is the predominant factor. When the planet has been transformed, the pathway to goodness will be the one most frequently followed. Therefore, these words should be understood in a relative manner and not as an absolute. If this was to be the permanent state of humanity, then God would have condemned the great majority of his creations to damnation. which is an inadmissible supposition since we recognize that God is all justice and all kindness. But what crimes has humanity committed to deserve such an unhappy state of affairs? In the present and the future, if everything here on earth is so degraded, and if the soul has had no other existences. So, this is a good question, right? I'm going to repeat that one. But what crimes has humanity committed to deserve such an unhappy state of affairs in the present and the future, if everything here on earth is so degraded, and if the soul has had no other existences? Why are there so many obstacles placed before each one? Why is the gateway so narrow as to allow only a few to enter, if the destiny of the soul is permanently determined immediately after death? In this way, with only one existence, man would always be at odds with himself and with God's justice. But with the pre-existence of the soul and the plurality of the worlds, the horizons spread out. Good news. Enlightenment comes to even the most obscure point of faith. The present, the present and the future become linked to the past, and it is then that is possible to understand the depth, truth, and wisdom of those words spoken by Jesus. So we can see uh, the narrow door or gate and the wide door or gate as a metaphor. To go to a narrow door, we cannot take anything with us. We have to go with the only thing that we truly have, which is our knowledge, our spiritual um, assets, whatever we acquire during each lifetime. That's what it means. Because if you want to carry everything that we carry, that we are attached to, which is everything that we find so, give so much importance in the physical world, then we need to have a wide gate to go through. But those things do not belong to us. Those things sometimes we carry with us, we're sort of stick with us because our evolutional stage are not there yet. We're not there yet to let go some stuff. And this is okay because eventually we're going to realize, hey, I don't need that anymore. That's not that important anymore. It is important to, you know, eat. It is important to preserve our body because that's how we get through this life. It's important to treat our body well. And it's important to, I don't know, if you like something that costs money and if you have the money, why not? But don't look at this as the only important thing in the world. Because what's truly important, what we truly have, what we truly is ours, is the things that we learn spiritually and scientific knowledge too. Because we have to have both. We have to have knowledge and we have to have spiritual enlightenment to move through the road of evolution. So let's ponder on that. If you have questions and comments about, just let us know. And we're gonna go through the third part of our study of this night, which is the vibration that we do, which is the praying and the movement of energy. In other words, charity. And now we're gonna sit in a comfortable position. We're gonna close our eyes and try to focus on a light that is being projected from starting in our hearts, because that's where we have all the good that we can have, that we have at this moment. And doesn't matter if it's just a candle or if it's big, broad, a light. That light, you're gonna let it shine, you're gonna move it through out of our body and project it through the atmosphere. And that light is gonna join all the other hearts. It's gonna join through the word, connecting with each other and connecting one another. So in this way, we can travel through this light and meet the ones we love, and with that, holding hands, we're going to visit the ones that are less fortunate, ones that are in need of a relief, consolation from their pains that they're having at this moment. Either the pains of the spirit, either pains of their body. May they feel for a while that they're not alone, that someone is there, with them right now, consoling, healing, guiding. So those who are in seek of the true meaning of things, may those hearts guide them. To those who are looking for a place to be because they've been dislodged of their original place, of their homes, may they feel that they're not alone and things will get better. May they feel that this too shall pass and they'll find what they're looking for. To those that are in the hospitals, they're in difficult situation physically, their bodies are suffering. Let them make sure, let them understand that it's just the body part. It's just the body that suffers. Just the body that has pain. The spirit always are supported, are looked upon, and things always get better. And to those that are still with just a little candle in their hearts, that's those hearts full of light connected together. Let them know that the little light connects to everything else. And after our travel through the word, after the sharing of light and love, we come back and we feel that we got everything we need for today and everything we need for this week. We are, our bodies are restored, our spirits are calm, and we hope to see you guys next week for another Enlightened Moments by Plenitude. We're going to ask now the permission of our mentors, of our enlightened spirits that support us in everything we do. They're always there with us to end this session and to, as a promise, to be here again one more week for another Enlightened Moments by Plenitude. Bye now.